Okay, so my name's Paula. I'm the Executive Officer of the Maths Association, and welcome to my study because on Tuesdays I work from home. And joining us today, we have Natalie Dowd, and Natalie's going to share a little bit of her stuff with what she does with Maths Talent Quest in the high school setting. And we have Jude Ferns, and Jude's going to explain to us how she does Maths Talent Quest with her primary school kids, but she's also recorded a really short video for me about how she does a class entry with her year one students. So I shall, hopefully this will. Yes, great, awesome. We're seeing the right stuff now. So, we're going to look at explaining a bit about the Maths Talent Quest. Please don't worry about taking photos or, jotting things down. I will be sending you a link to access this recording, and you'll have that by the end of the week. So just a couple of things. Most people have already got it. They've got their name there. I know most people and where they're from. But what if I could ask if in the chat, if you could just put your name and what school you're from, and that way we get an idea that where everybody is from. If you need to find the chat, it's usually across the bottom of your screen. I know Sue is not going to do anything in the chat because she's driving at the moment, so that's okay. So Peter's from Willetton Senior High School. Jude is at Ashdale Primary. And Natalie's from Corrine Senior High School. And I know that Tanya, who's with us, is from John Septimus Road. Thanks, Tanya. And we have Patricia Walsh with us today. And Patricia, your name is familiar, but I, for the life of me, can't remember. Thank you very much. Now, yep, that's reminded me from Coolangatta Primary or Community School. So thanks very much for that. Just a bit of, we're going to look at some the logistics and the administration of it and how to inspire your kids to get started. And I would like to take this opportunity to thank SciTech. They've come on board this year and they will be providing prizes for the outstanding primary entries. Okay, we at Marwa gather, or we today, gather for this workshop across various settings in a virtual construct. And let us take a moment to reflect on the meaning of place, and doing so recognise the various traditional lands on which we learn and share today. We acknowledge the elders, past, present and emerging, for all the lands we work, learn and live on, and their ancestral spirits with gratitude and respect. So some general information about Maths Talent Quest. So Maths Talent Quest, I actually looked in the office and we have this beautiful perpetual trophy there, or perpetual board. And it actually first started in 1967 and it ran every year then until 1985. And it was always run by volunteers. And so obviously at 1985, things became a little different and it became one of the association's inactive student activities. However, Donna Buckley, who is our Maths Talent Quest coordinator, in 2017, under Donna's guidance and enthusiasm, it was relaunched. And Maths Talent Quest is the only competition that is open to all students from kindergarten to year 12. Now, students can select their own topics to investigate, or they can be guided by their teacher into what they're interested in. They get to understand and discover how mathematics is used and found in the world around them. And it gives them a positive experience that reduces those barriers that, maths is done in a classroom and it's all about algorithms. And for some kids, they're very stressed about maths. Well, this gives us an opportunity to give them a chance to reduce their anxiety about mathematics. Okay, so we've got, I think there's 6 of them. Okay, guys, there's 6. No, there's 7. So these are some of the things that Maths Talent Quest does. Okay, I personally think it's, particularly in lower school, it's one of those opportunities to get kids to investigate and to help them through that process, to assist them with that investigation process they need to use for upper school. When you actually look at the curriculum, if you look in the curriculum and you look for any curriculum dot points that start with the word investigate or explore, you will actually be very shocked at how many there are. There's definitely plenty. Year 4 is a big year for that. And so is year 7 and 8. And it's not just in one strand, it's across multiple strands that appears. So we want our students to work like mathematicians, because that's what they do. It's interesting. I've been watching or listening to some podcasts, and mathematicians don't go to work and go, okay, today we're going to do area of rectangles, and I'm going to open up the textbook and I'm going to see a beautifully set out example, and I'm now going to do every odd question in that exercise. And if I'm lucky, there'll be a couple of interesting questions at the end. Well, that's actually not what mathematicians do. They actually find an interesting problem and then go about this process of working out a solution. And if we think about how mathematics has driven medical research, how it's driven our economy, how it's driven our approach to global climate issues, just in the last 2 years, our students have seen a heck of a lot of work about what mathematicians do, though they may not realise that there's actually mathematicians behind it. Now, if you're looking for a poster about working like a mathematician, the link at the bottom of the page will give you a beautiful poster that you can include in your classroom. So, Maths Talent Quest, the what and the who. Okay, so who? Everyone, kindy to year 12, ATAR and non-ATAR students in upper school. Students can work individually, or they can work in a group, and that group can be up to 6 students. Just for anybody who's in a primary school setting, if you've got a year 3-4 class, you can have students in a group from both year levels. It will just be that the project will be assessed as a year 4 project and not a year 3 one. You can do whole class, and whole class is for primary schools only. And as I say, Judith is going to give us some information about how she does whole class at her school. So the what? Well, it encourages creativity, diverse and innovative online presentations. That's what we're going to see, and that's what our students are going to be producing. Rough work and reflections can also be incorporated and encouraged. And what you'll be doing, so since 2020, students have been only allowed to submit a digital entry, and we're going to continue that in 2022. So you will upload it to an online platform. Each project needs to be one file. And look, we're looking at a file size of about 30 megabytes. So we're suggesting that you look at, if kids want to do a PowerPoint presentation and put a video within it, okay, put the video up on YouTube Kids or something like that, and just put a link within their PowerPoint, and that way they're only submitting the one file. Please, if you have any questions, just ask anywhere along through the chat. given that there's a small group of us, we'll get a chance to chat later. So how do you get started? So brainstorm some ideas with the students, and I know Nat's going to show us some of hers that her students have been doing. Explore some previous investigations. Now, what I've got at the bottom there is 2 links. So one of them is to the Mawar website, our Maths Talent Quest page, and you'll be able to see the 2020 and the 2021 West Australian winners in the National Maths Talent Quest. The second link is actually to the Victorian Maths Association website. If you go to their website, look under Student Activities, Maths Talent Quest, if you actually look, they've got several little round icons, and I will show you in a little while. If you go to the Celebrate one, you'll actually have a look at some of their investigations that were done by students. They've definitely got far more of them, and they are not necessarily state or national winners. They, I know, were selected because they don't have photographs of kids and they don't have kids' names on them. But certainly go and have a look at what's on there, because there's some really great ideas to get from what past students have done. Share your plan and parameters with the students so that they're part of that process. Share the rubric, and I'm hoping you will have all received an email from the office either yesterday or today, which would have had some attachments to it. And those attachments, there would have been the K-2 and then the 3-12 rubric, and a whole pile of resources that you could use that we'll have a look. Set a deadline, okay, probably about a week before the actual real deadline that you want in your school, but give the kids a deadline to work to. You will undertake some school-based judging, because there are some limits to the number that you can submit each year per year level. And look, I strongly recommend that you have some sort of celebration at school level, whether that's a virtual presentation evening with the students and their parents, whether that's the investigations are put up in the library, whether you're sharing them with parents and students via whichever platform your school shares information with the wider community. And look, if you've got a Facebook page or anything like that, why not share mathematics on those? I must admit, I've participate in, or I view quite a few schools' Facebook pages, and to be honest, I get a little sick and tired of seeing the sports stuff and the music stuff, and I get excited when we see some math stuff. So I'm going to pass over to Natalie from Careen Senior High School, and Nat's going to show us and tell us a little bit about how she does Maths Talent Quest with her students. Thanks, Nat.
Awesome. Thanks, Paula. Can everybody hear me? Paula, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, awesome. I can, mate.
Awesome. So here at Careen, we go up to year 9 with our Maths Talent Quest. So at Careen, we have our extension and advanced and our gifted and talented. So with the Maths Talent Quest, it forms part of our program. So they all know that it is part of the assessment process. So for our extension and our gifted and talented, the extension and gifted and talented are the only ones that participate. So we're doing it per year level from 7, 8s and 9s. So we've been doing it for quite some time now, and we've found it quite successful. I'm going to go through how we introduce it, which is through Class Notebook and Microsoft Teams. But we've already started our Math Talent Quest, so we slot in 1 session a week, which tends to be, at the moment for me, is Friday period 5, because it's the best way to keep them engaged and wanting to get in there and be investigative and act like a mathematician. So within that, we give them the rubric, we give them all the information. This year, because it was with my gifted and talented year 9s, I didn't start off like I normally do. I had my year 7s last year. I actually started off with a prompt. So if there's some sort of prompt for Math Talent Quest, I think a couple of years ago we had music, I think was the theme for Math Talent Quest a couple of years ago. So I would generally put up some sort of prompt in regards to that and get them coming up with, instead of like 100 questions in a minute, so they have to quickly write down as many questions about music that they would like to investigate, and then I sort of get them down to a question from there. That would be my year 7s, but my year 9 gifted and talented, I've just given them free range this year, and for them to come out with the question that they want to investigate. I'm going to show with you how we've actually got that set up. So I will go through. Oh, it's not. So this is my year 9 Microsoft Teams class notebook. And as you can see here, I've got Math Talent Quest, and we have loaded all of the Math Talent Quest documents there. And then what we set up is a collaboration space. And within the collaboration space, they join their teams. So, and I'm having a bit of a problem with the sun here, so I'm going to try and move. With our collaboration space, they actually put them into teams. I set the permissions so that other students can't access the collaboration space in the class notebook, and then they actually load all the information into that. So I'm going to go through to this one because this was my year 7s last year. So as you can see here, they have the class notebook, collaboration space all set up. We've got the Math Talent Quest, which is where they're putting all the information as to the question or the hypothesis as to why they chose that subject. And then they've actually set it up where they have the brainstorm in there, the aim in the question, and they keep a journal of every week that they're working on it. They also set a timeline at the beginning. Oh, that's going to change in a minute. I don't know why it's doing that. But they also set a timeline of what they're expecting to do over the 10 weeks, because we give them the whole entire term to actually work on this. So you can then see here, I'm going to pull this up, their journal.
Sorry, Nat, we can see the year 9 gifted and talented notebook.
Oh, it's not coming up with.
But yeah, we can't see what's actually in the notebook from the group of students.
Okay, I'm going to go back to the year 9 because I'm actually in the year 7, but for some reason it's not sharing.
Oh, you need to stop sharing one screen to share the next. It's a bit weird, I know.
Okay.
Oh, that's awesome. Yes, we can see that now.
Okay, awesome. I had to completely stop that and go back in again. So as you can see, this is the year 7. So this was from last year. So my year 9s have only just started, which I showed where we started with that. But then, oh, you missed everything I said about the year 9, the year 7. Sorry, I'll start again. So as you can see here, this is the year 7 gate notebook, class notebook, which is, you can see to the left, these are all the collaboration spaces for them. I have set permissions for each of the groups to actually load all their work. And the reason why we use a class notebook, especially at the moment, is because a lot of students can be working from home, or we've got them in the classroom. So by having these collaboration spaces, there could be a student that is at home if they're isolating or for whatever other reason, and they can still log on at our class time and work with the team on these investigations at the same time. So one person could be working on a brainstorm, the other one could be working on the journal. So it's completely up to them. Sometimes they assign roles and they work out between each other what they're actually going to do. I'm going to pull up, let's make sure I grab the right one, this one here. So they've got their timeline. There's a little bit different. So they've got their aim. We also have, once they've got their aim, we get them to do a pitch. So what that actually means is they have the idea, what they're going to pitch. They'll pitch it to the whole entire class. We'll then do a bit of a gallery walk so that they can actually have a look at all the items that are being pitched. And then each of the students can give their feedback to them and then how they think that, yes, that's going to work. Maybe it's not going to have enough maths in it. And they get feedback from the students, which is a lot more valuable than me actually giving them feedback. They, as I mentioned before, they keep their journal, they keep a timeline, they enter in all the math data. So all the data that they've researched or that they've calculated would go in this section here. And it's completely up to them what they do, but I really try for them to, look at the rubric and make sure that they're pulling everything out that they need to include in that rubric. So then I'm going to go to the presentation. And so it's taking a bit to load. So because we're actually submitting this through to MAWA, we download all this information. We have the PowerPoint, which they generally put the link into. At the moment, it's on SharePoint. So obviously we would download the PowerPoint. I'm just going to see if this will work. So Paula, you'll have to let me know if you can't see this.
Oh, it's looking hopeful. Yes, we can.
Okay, so this is one of the entries of our students that they actually submitted last year from Year 7s, and obviously they're doing it, is it possible to create up and away, and for a lot of helium balloons to be able to carry that out. So they've got all their information that they've got from the class notebook in there. They put everything down as to what their aim is, etc. So everything that they've worked on, everything that's in their class notebook will actually be included in here. Very important, obviously, to have the maths involved. That is the journal that they worked on, and what they did each week. That's really important for me, so they actually have thought about it beforehand. They do a bit of a timeline, and of course they need to include all their research, which they have done here. And presentation is also really important, so these ladies have done really well with that. This actually wasn't, we did actually submit this one through to MAWA last year.
I was going to say, I've seen this one.
In this one, I was going to do the other one, which was on the golden ratio, but the PowerPoint wasn't coming up. So obviously these are Year 7s, and I had Year 7s working on the maths surrounding the golden ratio, so that was really good as well. So there you go. So at the end of the year, at the end of the term, I should say, everybody will also show within the classroom the final presentation, what they've worked on for the whole entire term. They would have presented it again. They would get feedback again from everybody, and it is a celebration in that sense. We do celebrate each and every one of them. I also give them feedback as final feedback before we do the presentation tomorrow for them. What ends up happening with us as a school, and I'm going to stop sharing that now. Awesome. Like I said, I'm having problems with the sun. What ends up happening in that result is that we meet all the classroom teachers. We all meet together. We review all the submissions. Like we put forward, each individual teacher puts forward a submission that they think is worthwhile. And then all the students meet together and they decide, yes, these are the submissions that we're going to put through. So we actually get some really good submissions, but we try to limit it and according to what we've got and what maths is involved and whether we think they've got a chance of getting a high level in terms of presentations and awards.
Thank you, Natalie. That was very comprehensive. It's great to see this is what teachers are doing in their classrooms and how they're managing it, particularly how you're managing it week by week using IT. I'm sure the IT teachers are extremely happy to see that. Okay, so that's how Natalie manages it at her school. And how they tackle it there. Now, she did talk about some of the resources. So I just wanted to let you know. So these are some of the Maths Talent Quest resources. I will show you where these are available. Anybody who teaches Year 11s and 12 general students, essentials kids, will know these two posters quite well, but they do help get that idea of the mathematical thinking process or the statistical investigation process. If you're looking for, I suppose, a structure, these are some options. The second posters are the ones with support questions. What we also have for you on the Mauwa website is we have an information book for students that you, of course, would share like crazy with the kids, get them to have a look at that. We do have the coordinator's handbook. It's got a bit more of the, the extra bits for the teacher. But what we also have is this more than 100 inspirational titles. Now, these are not necessarily titles that we've seen projects for, but it's just to give you a bit of an idea. And these were created with a bit of brainstorming across the Maths Talent Quest coordinators across the country. So we do have those for you as well. If you wanted to use one of those as a prompt, you are more than welcome to do that. Now, thanks to the Maths Association of Victoria, and I have to say they're very generous education department, they have a separate category, and that's about financial investigations. And so what I've done is, with the permission of MAV, is they've got some ideas for finance and topics that students might investigate with regards to finance. And they've grouped them into early years, middle years, and senior years. And please, they've got VCAL and VCE because, of course, it's from Victoria. But what they've done is they've looked at some of the content as well in the curriculum. So maybe if you're looking for your children are interested in something in the way of something financial, this is actually a new resource this year. Now, the lovely Judith Ferns, this is her beautiful class of Year 1 students. They were a national winner last year, and Jude's class was, Jude's school was also the Outstanding School of the Year for the second year in a row. So I got to present them with the trophy and the board there. And Jude, did you want to talk to us, or do you want me to show the video?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, that's awesome. Thanks, Jude.
If you like, I can just talk briefly about how we've used the Maths Talent Quest at the school, and then maybe you could show the video about doing a class entry.
That'd be fabulous, yes.
Yeah, so I think it was about 4 years ago, we decided we'd have a go at the Maths Talent Quest. And initially we use it, and with the older grades, we usually use it as extension. Either the kids volunteer or the teachers choose the children that actually wanted to have a go at doing entries. We found that usually it was done in their own time, and either I would meet with them or other teachers would get together with them at lunch. They would be given class time, but they would work by themselves to actually do their entries. Our job mainly with the kids was to, sorry, the vacuum cleaner started.
That's okay.
Was to just check that they're on the right track, help them with the maths, help them with editing, just give them advice if they needed it. But we found that the kids are pretty good at actually doing the work themselves. Usually they worked in groups of 2 or 3. Usually that's probably the best amount. And we've had some individual entries. The resources that are in those handbooks are excellent. I found that just having those gives you enough information to get the kids started. And we just give them all that information. We go through some of the ideas for what they could investigate, but I'm always amazed at the things that they can actually think of to investigate. So really that's how we've done it. We let them know that if their entries are good enough, then they will be entered. Usually we don't have too many for each year group. So if we think they're of good enough quality, then we will enter them into the Maths Talent Quest. The kids really love it. I did ask the kids a couple of years ago about why they enjoy it. And I've got a list of things here. They really like the problem solving aspect of it. They like the fact that they could investigate what they wanted to investigate. They loved collaborating with each other to do them. They liked being creative. They liked the fact that it was real life math context. They enjoyed sort of a lot of them sort of ask, do surveys of what other kids or what other people think about things. And so they liked finding out other people's opinions. Often we found that the maths that they learn while doing the investigation was embedded, and they enjoyed learning the maths while they were doing them. I think they had a good sense of achievement. So they really, really enjoy it. And yeah, often they're motivated to just do it themselves. Really, our job is just to keep them on track, just to check in with them, just to check they haven't got off track, make sure that they're still focusing on the maths. And after doing it for a few years with older kids, I really enjoyed it, and I really wanted to have a go at doing some class entries. So for the past 2 years, I've done class entries with my year 1 class. The first year was a bit of an experiment to work out how it would go, but I'm going to do it every year now. I don't do all my teaching like this, but I do really like the way that it gives you the chance to investigate with the kids. The kids are really motivated by doing it, and also I feel like the maths is really well embedded as well. And I've done a little video, so I'll let Paula show the video about how I went about doing my class entries.
Thanks.
But I'd recommend it to everyone. It's a lot of fun. The kids love it.
Thanks, Jude. Now, the video might be quite skinny because I don't want to distort Jude's face too much.
That's all right.
But Jude's going to explain to us how she did a class entry with her year 1s that worked with the curriculum. And I'm hoping I've got everything crossed. That looks like it's working.
Hi, my name is Jude Ferns and I am a year 1 teacher at Ashdale Primary School. Over the past couple of years, I have done a maths talent quest with my class. What I do is start with the content that I need to teach in maths, and then I work out what topic we can investigate for that content. For example, this year I'm going to be covering some of my statistics through an investigation into the weather. And by investigating the weather, I'm also going to be covering content in HASS and in science. It just means that this investigation fits in with the rest of your learning curriculum. Last year, I did an investigation which was called How Big is My Soft Toy? And with this investigation, I was able to cover the whole of the measurement content in the one investigation. I'll talk a little bit about that to show you how I went about it. All the children chose a soft toy, and then we did a brainstorm and got their ideas on how they thought we could work out how big their soft toy was. And from the brainstorm, we then used some of their ideas in the investigation. For example, some of them suggested we could measure our soft toys or work out how big they were using equipment. So I set up what I called a measurement shop, where I just had containers with lots of different equipment that they could use for measurement. For example, blocks, buttons, that sort of thing. Usually I would start in a very open-ended way, because that is part of them investigating. So they were just told to choose their equipment and then measure their soft toy. As they're doing that, I take lots of photos. You need to take photos as you go, because you need evidence to put into your entry to show how the kids are doing the investigation. You can also put little videos in if you want to. With my investigation, after we had done the open-ended measurement, I then used the photos and what they've done to lead into explicit teaching on what they need to learn about measurement. One of the other ideas that came out of the brainstorm in our measurement entry was that we could measure our bears with a height chart. And again, I started in an open-ended way where the kids actually made their own height charts, and then we looked at those and measured with their own, and then worked out why it was important to have standard measures. While you are doing the investigations, you will find that the kids are very motivated by this type of learning, and they get very involved and enthusiastic. I also found along the way that we could link it to other areas as we were going. For example, we made magnificent things for the exactly the right size for our soft toy, which was based on a STEM project. While you are doing the investigation, it is worth having a look at the rubrics that you're going to be assessed on, so that when you put your entry in, you know that you have covered all of the areas that you will be assessed on in the rubrics. I found after doing the measurement entry that the kids' learning of measurement was also embedded and strong. So it's definitely worth doing because the kids are learning as well. It's a lot of fun. The kids really enjoy it, and I would definitely recommend it to you. You can see how big is my soft toy entry on the Mauer site. Have fun and give it a go. Thanks.
So thanks to Jude for preparing that little video for us, which I think gives us a real insight into what a class entry looks like in the primary area. And I will remind you that class entries are only permitted from primary schools and primary classes. Okay, I'm going to crazily try and find my PowerPoint presentation again. That's not working. Just give me a moment, please, as I close a few screens here. The joys of technology. That's what I'm looking for. There we go. It's going to behave itself now, hopefully. So as both Nat and Jude mentioned, it's about the marking rubric. Now, this is a very tiny screenshot of it. I will show you where you can get that for yourself. What we have done is, with the help of from a student at John Curtin College of the Arts, we've actually now got an electronic marking rubric that you are more than welcome to use with your students if they're going to do some peer assessment, or you can use it in your school for your school judging process. So what about the pathway? So as Nat explained, they do school-based competitions. Judith in her primary school do it slightly differently, but you start with something that's school-based. You determine which you're going to enter into the Mauer state competition. And then what happens from there is we, as an affiliate of the Australian Association of Mathematics Teachers, we are permitted to enter one entry per year level, per category, into the national competition. And then we compete against all of the entries from all of the other states and territories. So that's kind of the pathway. We get super excited. We love to celebrate our state winners, but we do also celebrate our national winners as well. So what type of projects can students choose to do? Well, they can do an investigative report. Okay, and we've given you some ideas what that must include. They can do some creative writing, so an essay, a story, a collection of letters, poems. If they'd like to do it as a play, prepare the script and present the play, that's not a problem. Of course, media and or technology is very much the way that we have done it in the last 2 years. If your students are interested, they could present their work as a poster or an infographic. What we would suggest, particularly with the creative reporting, or the creative writing, the poster or the infographic, it's actually really important that the students submit what the process they went through to get to that final product, which I think Nat showed us really well, the process that her students go through. So how do you register? Okay, so you conduct your school judging if required. You are allowed a maximum of 6 entries per year group per category. So for example, if you had year 7s, you could select 6 group entries for year 7. If you're in a primary school and you're looking at, say, year 3s, you could have, if you had them there, 6 individual entries, 6 group entries, and 1 class entry. If you're more than a single stream primary school, yes, you can enter more than 1 class entry at a year group. And I'm terribly sorry, I forgot in the example with the year 7s. Of course, you can also enter not only 6 group ones, but 6 individual ones as well. You can register your school for Maths Talent Quest. So that's kind of where we're registering, we're in the process, we're ready to go. Can you start sending us information as it becomes available? The next thing is, once you have decided on your entries, you will register and pay for your projects. We do require judges. Okay, so any school that enters into the Maths Talent Quest does need to provide some judges. And we do have the ratio there of for every 5 entries, you'll be expected to judge at least 6. And I would like to reassure you, because I know I can imagine the high school teachers that are with us today are having heart palpitations. Do you mean I've got to mark a year 1 project? No, definitely not. The same as we would not give our primary teachers a secondary project to mark. You'll get 1 to mark that's appropriate for your year group or your primary or secondary level. The closing date is the 10th of August. So as you can see, you've got all of this term to work on it. And of course, they don't need to be entered and uploaded until the beginning of term 3. And there's the cost per entry to get your entries into us. Behind each of these blue links is actually a link to the page where you do those things. So don't stress too much. So what about judging? So we do online judging now. We used to have a wonderful display of projects in the office, and we used to have teachers come in and assess the projects on a day for a couple of hours. With the restrictions that have been in place as COVID has become part of our life, we've moved to online judging, and you get a whole week to judge maybe 6 projects that you will judge. We will contact you with all the judging information, the specific projects that you're going to judge. Yes, Nat?
I'll let you wait till you finish, but I just had to say that the judging is a really easy process that's done through MARA, and it's actually really interesting to see what other students are coming up with, like whether it's from a different school or different demographic. It's a really worthwhile process. So if you do get the opportunity to do the judging, it's really interesting, and it doesn't take that long. It's like I said, it's really easy. The electronic rubric makes it that way, and it's really worthwhile. So usually at our school, somebody puts their hand up to do the judging, but look, I really think it's worthwhile. So don't be afraid of doing it. It's interesting. That's all.
Thanks, Nat. And Jude agrees with you. She popped that in the chat for us. So what we will be doing, and this is completely your choice, with the help of the Maths Association of Victoria, we're going to put together a workshop for judges. So it'll just be an online, half an hour, 40-minute, here's what you do, trust your professional judgment kind of thing. And we'll be holding that in August, just before judging starts. Please don't stress, because all the projects are marked by multiple judges. Okay, so you don't have to think, oh my goodness, this is all up to me. And no, each project is marked by multiple judges. And what we do is we provide our judges with a professional learning certificate, because we see that it's a valuable process to be involved in. And we kind of think that there's another couple of hours of PL that you can put through to your TRBWA stuff that you need to do these days. Okay, come on, behave. There we go. So what we have, these are the key dates that we've got on our website. And you can see that the state judging happens in August, and then the national judging happens in September. And what we do here at MAWA is, with regards to providing judges for the national competition, we will invite judges to participate in that one. So don't think, oh my goodness, I've done some state judging now, there's this expectation. No, we invite our WA judges to the national. And we do hold an awards ceremony. We were very lucky last year. We did manage to hold it face-to-face. The year before it was hybrid. And so we hold that, and it is scheduled for Wednesday, the 19th of October. And what we've done recently is we've been holding that in a school, because we think it's a great opportunity for the school to showcase their school, but also it gives them an opportunity to have one more event or something that they can tick off on their Maths Active School application, if your school is interested in that. So what I've got is, the last slide was just a chat and casual questions and so forth. But I did want to, if you just bear with me for a moment while I get my computer screens working, I did want to show you on our website where you're going to find some information. And yes, my website is up and showing. So she says, that's the one I need. Beautiful. So this is the MAWA website that you can see. You will find it under educators and under events and student activities, and you will see Maths Talent Quest there. And this is the Maths Talent Quest page. And what we have here is you can view the 2021 and 2020 national winners. What we then have is we have two videos that have been prepared with the help of two teachers, just giving us some ideas about how they run it in their school, and what are some of the things that they do and so forth. So Jude gives us a really good explanation of what she does at Ashdale Primary School. And then we have a young teacher from Ellenbrook Secondary College who shares how they do it. And they do it quite differently than the way Natalie told us how her school does it. So if you want to have a look at those videos, they're about 10 minutes long each. There's our key dates, just a whole pile of information, some background. There's Donna. She's our Maths Talent Quest coordinator. If you'd like to know a little bit more about Donna, you can listen to her little video there. And then we have just lots of information. And the most important bit is way down the bottom here, is where we have the general links. So this is where you will find the coordinator's handbook under the general link. If you want a flyer to put up in your school, we've done that for you. Links to the 2 rubrics, the K to 2 and the 3 to 12. And then over here under students, there's the 100 inspirational titles for you and the financial literacy in practice sheet. And there's a sample media project there if you'd like to have a look at it. And just a little bit about, for organisers, about judging registration. And we're hoping that the frequently asked questions answer most of the questions that you've got. Now, I'll just stop sharing that for a moment, and I'm just going to flip screens here. And I just wanted to show you that on the Victorian Maths website, once again, it'll be under student activities, Maths, sorry, I've just pushed on the wrong one, Maths Talent Quest. And really the most interesting one for us, because everything else is, of course, geared very much to how they run their competition, is this Celebrate button. And you can get to see, if I go to the Celebrate button, we scroll down a little bit, and we can actually see a pre-primary, year 1, year 2. They've got one for just about each year group up to year 9. So you can have a look at some of the projects from the Maths Association of Victoria. At this point, I'm going to thank you for coming along today. And I'm also going to thank all of those people who've registered and will be viewing the recording later, because they've got various other things on this afternoon. We hope to see a stack of entries into Maths Talent Quest this year. And if anybody has any questions, I'm more than happy to hang around and answer those. I would like to once again thank Nat and Jude for their time today and sharing their experiences with us. And I have permission to send their emails. So if you've got any direct questions that you would like to ask either of those ladies, you'll be able to communicate directly with them.